Best scene from Morph by Chris Davis. Interior operating room, test facility, continuous. Morty twists the knob and it opens. He rushes in, gun drawn, only to find Jack struggling against the metal shackles binding him to the operating table in the middle of the room. He holsters his weapon and rushes forward, going for the shackle on Jack's left wrist.
Talk to me.
Jack looks nuts, hair is disheveled, completely nude, covered in a thin sheen of sweat. He turns his head, as much as he can, beneath the bar holding his forehead down, to look at Morty. Morty flinches because Jack's eyes are an ethereal blue, like nothing in this world.
What the hell?
Morty is fighting to get the shackles off his partner, but they won't budge. They need some sort of key. They're too close to Jack's body for him to shoot them open without hurting his partner. Then, something in the corner of the room on the floor catches Morty's eyes, and he stops moving even as Jack continues struggling, growling, trying to get free. Morty rushes over to the incendiary device in the corner that we saw earlier. The timer is now counting down from 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Oh, not good, not good.
From behind him, a small, weak human voice. Morty turns and runs to Jack, who has loosened the shackle around his right wrist. Morty grabs it, pulls at it, and with Jack's renewed help, manages to wrench it open, enough for Jack's right arm to be freed.
We gotta get out of here.
But Jack is still. He's staring at Morty. When he speaks next, his voice is stronger, but it's laced with something low, growly, savage. Doesn't sound entirely human.
Abby. Look, buddy, this place is gonna blow in less than 3 minutes. How do I open these things?
Morty runs down to the ankle shackles, still trying to pull them open. Jack shakes his head as though trying to clear it. Takes a huge breath, squeezes his eyes closed and strains like hell against the forehead clamp. The shackle around his left wrist and the shackle securing his ankles. Morty's eyes are huge. He takes a step back. Jack's strength is phenomenal, but what's even more shocking than that is that Jack is changing. Morph sequence. Jack's eyes are already an ethereal shade of blue. Slowly, a strange tint starts to glow from just beneath his skin. We focus on Jack's human teeth, which elongate slightly, incisors sharpening and lengthening top to bottom to resemble that of wolf teeth, but set into a human mouth. Up to his eyes, which become red-ribbed, the unearthly blue irises giving off a faint glow. Morty has flattened himself against the wall, staring, unable to believe what he's seeing. The forehead clamp pops off Jack's forehead, freeing his head. Jack cranes his neck up to look down his body at the ankle shackles. When he opens his mouth, the snarl of a wolf is what emerges. Focus now on Jack's bare chest, which already has its own normal amount of dark human hair, but the hair thickens and fills in until there aren't any more bare spots to be seen. It's clear that this is no longer human body hair, but instead is wolf fur. This is happening simultaneously on his arms, groin, butt, legs, and backs of his hands and tops of his feet. Just as the fur stops growing about an inch long, the ankle shackles both clank open, followed immediately by the shackle on Jack's left wrist giving away. Jack is free, and as we saw in the teaser, fluidly and elegantly, he sits up on the table and slides off to stand on the floor. Only now that the morph is complete, Jack is no longer Jack. Now, he's Wolfman. End morph sequence. Morty is about to shit a brick. He didn't just see what he just saw. It's impossible. But he did see it. This is his partner, who's kind of glowing and looks like an animal. Morty gets a good look at his partner, now as Wolfman just stands there and stares at him, while Wolfman still appears to have something like Jack's hair on the top of his head, and is still upright and shaped like a human head to toe. He's more of a Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman now than he is a human. He's covered from human hair to feet in the wolf fur, except for his nose, which is the same black color and texture as a wolf's nose, shaped like it's half his human nose and half a wolf's nose without the long snout. The area just under his eyebrows to just under his lower eyelashes, eyelids included, is fur-free. That's the only place where human-like skin can actually be seen. Wolfman's ears are human-shaped ears lined with barely there fur that lays flat. The same type of shorter fur covers the remainder of his face down to the bottom of his neck, with a longer fur from the bottom of his human hairline down the entire back of his neck and blending into longer fur starting at the bottom of his neck all the way around. When Morty looks first at Wolfman's hands and then at his feet, he finds that they're paw-like, with leathery black pads covering the underside of his hands and feet, though they still have separate and distinct human-shaped fingers and toes. But at the ends of those digits are thick, curved, and razor-sharp black claws, each about an inch long.
Jack?
Wolfman cocks his head. Morty swallows hard and takes a step towards him, hand moving tentatively out towards Wolfman.
What did they do to you?
Morty is close enough to touch him now, but hesitates when Wolfman growls.
Jack, it's me. Morty Abramovich. Your partner.
Wolfman growls again, then he catches a whiff of something and sniffs. He looks curiously at Morty and sniffs again, his nose leading him to figure out what he's smelling is Morty. Wolfman's eyes widen, then narrow. He's staring at Morty's face like he's trying to memorize it. Suddenly, Morty remembers something. He lays his left hand, palm flat, on his chest.
Abby.
Wolfman twists his head as though he recognizes this name. Morty steals a glance at the nearest bomb timer and springs into action because there's only 30 seconds left.
We have to get out of here. Now!
Wolfman flinches, confused by the sudden change in Morty's demeanor. Morty just grabs Wolfman's forearm without thinking about it, points to the bomb.
Bomb! Kaboom!
His words are accompanied by hand gestures that apparently are wild enough to spur Wolfman into action. Morty is running for the door when there's an explosion that rocks the entire room. The lights go out, and a second explosion throws Morty and Wolfman to the floor. Morty hits his head on the door jamb on the way down. Wolfman gets to his feet, looks down and sees Morty is now unconscious in the doorway. Wolfman looks at one of the bomb timers. We can't tell if he understands what he's seeing, but the counter is at 15 seconds. Coming to a decision, Wolfman grabs Morty off the floor, cradles him in his arms, and runs. Exterior, grounds, test facility seconds later. Just emerging from the opposite end of the subject containment building, through the same door Morty used to get in, is Wolfman, with Morty cradled in his arms. They barely make it through the door when the rest of the subject containment facility blows sky high. Wolfman stops, curls himself forward around Morty's unconscious form, and is actually able to withstand the shockwave and the heat. It singes the fur up and down his back, but he stands steady against it. Then he straightens up and lets out a blood-curdling howl. When Wolfman reaches the perimeter of the facility, he's confronted by an 8-foot-high chain-link fence with razor wire covering the top. Without any hesitation, Wolfman leaps into the air and soars over the fence. He lands on the other side, turns to bare his teeth and growl at the fence. He hears shouting human voices. In his arms, Morty moans and opens his eyes. Wolfman looks down at him curiously, almost tenderly. When it sets in for Morty, he reacts, struggling to get Wolfman to put him down. Wolfman complies, and Morty's on his own 2 feet pretty quickly. He's reluctant to let go of Wolfman, keeping his hand on his forearm. Morty rubs the back of his head, feels his temple, finds a mildly bleeding gash there, looks up to Wolfman.
Jack?
Wolfman whines a little, leans forward, sniffs at the blood on Morty's temple, then whines again. His tongue darts out. It's a little longer and flatter and softer than a human tongue is. He licks his lips in the area all around them, leans forward and nudges it gently at Morty's wounded temple with his cold, wet, wolf-like nose. Morty half smiles, sort of chuckles. Can't believe it.
No, it's okay, man. I'm alright, it's nothing.
Human voices are growing closer, shouting. Both Morty and Wolfman look behind Morty in the general direction of the facility's front gate. Morty looks back at the Wolfman.
We gotta get out of here, partner. Until I can figure out how to make you human again.
Exterior, canyon, continuous. Morty takes off for the folds of the canyon. Wolfman follows without hesitation. It's like he's tuned into Morty. Only the dim glow of the distant buildings on fire and the moon from above light their way, and here, in a much darker setting, we can see that Wolfman is really glowing a little. It's not a bright light, simply a soft, diffused glow. Wolfman whimpers and stops. Morty turns. Wolfman wavers on his feet and falls to his knees without warning.
You hurt?
Morty drops to his knees right in front of Wolfman, lickety-split, grabbing his forearms as reverse morph. The retraction of everything that appeared in the morph sequence occurs in precisely the reverse order. Within mere seconds, Wolfman is gone, leaving Jack, who is weak, nude, covered in sweat, but fully human, normal eyes included, as he slumps forward. Morty catches him, wraps his arms around him.
Holy shit, you're back. You okay? Jack?
Abby.
Morty breathes a sigh of relief. We very slowly start to pull away as Jack gets back upright on his knees and Morty takes his own button-down shirt off.
We're gonna get you some help. Figure out what they did to you.
Jack's eyes widen, he starts shaking his head. It's the closest to panic Morty's seen him. He backpedals.
Okay, buddy, okay. Just us. You and me. We'll figure it out. It'll be okay.
Morty wraps his shirt around Jack's waist, the longer part in front to hide his groin, sleeves tied around his back, leaving his butt exposed. But it's the best he can hope for right now.
Yeah, okay. Abby. Okay.